The excretory system. We are going to look at how your kidneys work and what do you find in pee?
Goo!
Alright, let's take a look at that.
Of course I peed my pants. Everybody my age pees their pants. It's the coolest.
The excretory system. I like to compare it to a car that has a gas-powered engine in it. The gas-powered engine has oil that it needs to function. And in that system, you have a filter, an oil filter, that will clean the oil. Your body has blood that circulates through it, and you have a filter as well, which would be your kidney. And most of us actually have two kidneys that will filter our blood and make sure it's nice and clean and ready to do what it needs to do. So the system, there are a couple parts. I'm going very general in the parts, but you can obviously go more specific. You've got the oil, or in this case, your blood, that is going to get filtered through your kidneys. Your kidneys will then take the materials that we don't want. Many times it's going to be metabolic wastes, nitrogenous wastes, maybe some salts, maybe some extra water, who knows. And we're going to put that into our urine, and it's going to be passing down through your ureter, which are two tubes that run down into your bladder. The bladder is just what a bladder does, is it holds stuff until it's ready to be removed, and it has some muscles around it that allow it to actually force the urine out, and it's going to go out your urethra, and that's just the tube that leaves the body. Those are the basic parts. Yes, you can go into the kidney and look at more specific parts as to how that kidney filters, but all we're going to discuss is that kidney filters, dumps the waste into your ureters, which then goes into your bladder, and then it's going to exit through your urethra. So, yeah, that's that. The kidneys are very good at regulating how much water you have in your body. If you drink a lot of water, you're going to pee a lot more. If you don't drink a lot of water, you're not going to be peeing a lot. And your kidneys are the ones that are deciding what goes into that pee. At some point, you might be going to the doctor and they're going to ask you for a urine sample. The reason behind that is your pee holds a tremendous amount of information about how your body's running. When things aren't correct, many times your kidney is going to try to fix those corrections by getting rid of the stuff that doesn't belong in your blood. So getting a urine sample, I got this container, it has 100 pee test strips. It cost me about $20 to $30. Gives you a ton of information. And it's very easy to collect somebody's urine, and we make it all the time. You actually make about 200 to 300 milliliters of urine every time you go to the bathroom, sometimes more, sometimes less, but that's the general amount. So it's easy to collect, easy to get a bunch of information. So we're going to run a test on some pee. And you might say, what kind of pee did you get? Well, I did some collecting, and I got some pee from a dog, and in particular, I think his name was Peppy. I got some pee from a hadrosaur. That was a very difficult one. It's a dinosaur.
Hadrosaur urine. We are going to cover
Whoa, wait. What is that?
Hadrosaur urine.
I got some pee from an eagle. And I got some pee from Austin Powers. So I've got 4 different pees that we're going to be testing. Side note, birds don't pee like we do, and I don't think dinosaurs ever did either, but that's just a side note. When I run the urine test, what I'm going to do is take this strip and I'm going to dip it into the urine, and it's going to change the colors of these squares. When it changes the colors of these squares, I'm going to compare it to this chart to see what those color changes mean. And we'll go through each individual color change and get some results from that. So the first one that we're going to place in here is the eagle. And let's take a look at what the results are from the eagle. So I'm going to compare these squares and we'll see what we find. So what I see right now is there is a positive test for the leukocytes and a positive test for the nitrite. Now what that is going to tell me is this particular bird probably has a UTI infection. About 50% of women will get a UTI in their lifetime, men less likely getting a UTI. Urobilinogen, nothing, protein, nothing, pH, we're okay. You want to be at the lower end near that orange. Blood, we have nothing. Specific gravity, nothing. It's on the low end, which you want, means the eagle's drinking enough. Ketones, okay. Bilirubin, okay. Glucose, okay. So for the eagle, its main issue is the leukocytes and the nitrites, which means it has a UTI. Okay, that's the eagle. Next one is going to be Austin Powers. If we take a look at Austin Powers, he does not have a UTI because he has a negative test for leukocytes and nitrites. Urobilinogen, when I look at that one, everything's okay. Protein, yes, we are finding some protein in his urine, and that could be a sign of high blood pressure or maybe diabetes, but we're probably going to lean towards high blood pressure. So he does have protein. His pH is also not in a good spot. It's too high. He wants to bring that down because if it's too high, it could cause kidney stones. And it leads us to the blood, which he does have blood in his urine. So what that tells me is he probably has a kidney stone. And he has a kidney stone perhaps because of the pH of his urine and that high blood pressure, maybe with that protein that's there. And which also leads us to specific gravity. His specific gravity is horrendous. He is definitely not drinking enough, which is also a possibility of why he's getting kidney stones. So to fix this, he's going to have the kidney stones removed, or he's going to have to pass them, and he needs to drink more water. Ketones, he seems to be okay on that. Bilirubin, he's all right with that. Glucose, okay. Next one is going to be the hadrosaur. If I go through these, hadrosaur, leukocytes, nitrates, good. Urobilinogen, good. Protein, good. pH, good. Blood, good. Specific gravity, good. Ketones, we're getting into a problem here. If I see that, it's showing me that he's probably not eating enough. And if you're not eating enough, you're going to start putting ketones into your urine. So somebody that needs to be eating more is going to be needing that. So people who are vomiting or have diarrhea or exercise like crazy, like marathon runners, they are on a very low carb diet, they might have a high ketone thing. So I'm guessing this dinosaur needs to lay off the exercise, maybe eat a little bit more, and be more conscious of its diet. Bilirubin, fine. Glucose, fine. The last one is Peppy, the puppy there. And if I take a look at Peppy, he's got no leukocytes, no nitrites, no urobilinogen, protein's fine, pH fine, blood fine, specific gravity fine, ketones fine. Bilirubin, he's fine, but those that were wondering with that one, that is the breakdown of blood cells, and you might have liver problems that are associated with that one. But glucose, we do see a positive for glucose, and what that is telling me is he is probably diabetic. He has glucose in his urine, which is sugar, so there's too much sugar in his blood because his body is not, or his pancreas is not producing enough insulin. So I would put Peppy on a insulin regimen to try to fix his glucose issue. So we've got 4 different urines with 4 different problems, and hopefully you can see how valuable testing your urine can be. 2 interesting little side things about urine. Peeing in the pool. You've probably heard the saying that if you pee in the pool, it's going to produce some chemical that's going to change color, and everyone's going to know that you peed in the pool. That is a myth. There isn't a chemical in there for you to do that. If they had that chemical in the pool, you would see your pool would be that crazy color because a lot of people pee in the pool. So that's not real. You don't need to worry about pee in the pool, or you shouldn't, because there's chlorine in there that will help clean the liquid. and there's also really not a lot of horrible things in pee. It's in general sterile and not something you should worry about. So that's piece number one. Piece number two is this stuff, and this is deer pee. And what's special about deer pee and why someone would want it is if you are hunting and you want to tell the deer in that area that there is a female deer that's ready to mate, you would put this smell or this urine around because it has a pheromone in it that will alert those deer to that particular individual would be there, or that type of deer would be there. You can get female deer pee, and you can also get male deer pee, which would alert the deer that there is a male in the area. So you've got deer pee that will alert them to those things. The other thing is, what does this smell like? It does not smell like human pee at all. Its smell is, it's extremely, I would call it earthy, like a really earthy, strong odor. If you've ever smelled it, you immediately know what the smell is like, and it is strong. So those are two side pieces of information about urine that I thought were kind of interesting. That's it. That is the excretory system. It is, real briefly, a system where you are cleaning your blood and getting rid of extra water that you may not need. That's really the basics of the excretory system. I hope you learned a little bit. You enjoyed the urinalysis, the talking about deer pee and urine volume. And next time that you go to the doctor and they ask for your urine sample, you'll know what they're looking for, and you might even be able to ask some informed questions. Okay, until next time, see you guys.